Hi, welcome back. This is a step-by-step guide on how to create faceless YouTube videos using AI generated images and animations. And I'm going to show you how I've done this looking at my videos that I make on this channel that you can see right now. Yes, and that's what I'm going to tell you in this video. So if you're up for it, you've been thinking about starting a production of your own, you've been thinking of you've been wondering, how do they really do this? I'm going to give you step by step, blow by blow, so that you understand and you can follow through as I'm creating this. By the way, creating faceless YouTube channels that tell stories in particular using AI is so new, it's so fresh, it's so like the in thing right now because it's intriguing and it's interesting, right? Using characters that are not, real people, and it has a way of just getting people glued, and those channels are doing very well, if I say so myself. So with this, you can start your own home movie-like production house. With this, you can tell any story now, faceless, right? Nobody will know it's your story or somebody else's story. You don't have to use real names now. You don't have to, name real places. And the process is simple. So let's go right into it. Number one, you have to, of course, decide on the title of the story you want to create. So is it the guy with the big ear? Is it the about women riot? Is it a girl called Adana? When I'm just giving you sometimes my own storylines. So you have to understand, first of all, that you want to create a particular story and what the story is about. That's the first point of call, right? Yes. What is the story you want to tell? So whether it is folklore or historical events or fiction or children's stories, my gosh, or you want to create an adolescent moral instruction kind of story or dialogues or even monologues, whatever it is, make sure that the title of the topic resonates with fun, educational, is intriguing, is entertaining for your target market, because that's what you should use this to achieve. And also make sure that it's easy for you to narrate as well, because this is come off as gist. Okay, then when you're certain that this is the kind of story I want to tell, I want to tell the story of Adana, who left home at 26, went to a big city. This what happened to her, this was her career transaction, this is how she got married, this is what happened to her, whatever, whatever in the time frame of her life you want to tell, and the intrigues and all that she went through, you have to be sure of this story. Then give it some life, right? Which is the part you have to write your script. So you have to go ahead and write a brief story about that topic you have chosen, right? So you might decide that it's Adana you want to talk about. She's a dark skinned girl. She lives in so place. You can fabricate a name, but if it's African, you can use it anywhere in Africa, right? And make sure that the names and the places are consistent with that place. Okay, it can also be fictitious. I mean, nobody's going to trace that there. So go ahead and do your thing. Just the same way people write fiction stories. Yeah. So go ahead and tell the story a bit. What happened to her? The highlight of her journey, how she ended up a bit. Then you can go to ChatGPT and put on this prompt and say, develop this story fully. You have to write your script, then develop it fully using AI. Make sure your voice is gisty, like you're talking to a friend. Make sure your voice is smooth and all that. Make sure that you add ChatGPT to add a little bit of intrigue, cliffhanger, suspense, describe the characters in the story better, include some climaxes, describe scenes and all that. That way it gives you a broader, more exciting storyline. Make sure to also ask it to make it narrative, fun, and clear so that it's easy for your audience to follow. Next step is time to now voice your script. Remember, you can do it either way. You can decide to voice your script right after writing the script, or after writing the script, you generate the images you need first before you voice it. Either one that works for you is fine. But let me start with saying voice your script, right? Take your script, read through, read through your script to be sure that every word, every name, every location is all on point and the story flows properly. Then go to a quiet room. Set up your recording space, find a quiet room, use a good microphone, and then tell this story as you will want people to enjoy it. You can use a microphone for with your device, like a Blue Yeti, like the Rodeo, like any other type of microphone that will amplify your voice so it will be clear and your audience can get your storyline. You can also use audio enhanced mobile phones. If you use mobile phone to record, like I mentioned, the ones that I used, Infinix 11. I'm not sure it's still in the market, but I think so. Infinix Note 11 also has an inbuilt powerful microphone, and also Carbon 30, which is the one I'm using right now to do this video. Carbon 30 Technophone also has inbuilt microphone. You can use any of them to record your voice. Now, how do you do this recording? You put on your video like you normally do your video and place your mobile phone on a surface that is so that it will be blackout, right? Of course, you're using your back camera, so you have a blackout video. That this is easier instead of importing an audio file and trying to make it work on certain softwares later that might give you some issues. Okay, so you record as a video, a blank video, narrate your story with all the tonalities and all of those intriguing voice intonations, and like when you're just your friend, some places you will add some exaggeration, some days, make sure that it amplifies in your story and in your voice. Use your voice like an artist when you're telling the story. So when you're done with that, let's go to the images. Now, I will always recommend you use Meta AI. I used to use Copilot, but Copilot has a limit to the number of images it gives you access to generating a day. I don't know whether they've stopped that now because technology is always evolving. You can also use Leonardo AI, but it also has limitations. But I find that Meta AI gives you as many as you want. Also, be sure of the kind of image you want, whether you want it to be realistic, you want it to look like cartoon, you want it to look like pencil art. Please be specific. So when you're putting your prompts and what you want it to generate, you're exactly mentioning what you want it to generate, right? Remember that with AI, you have to give it as much information as possible. You don't just depend on it to give you whatever it gives you. It may not be consistent. It may not be exactly what you're looking for. So that's why I wrote this prompt for you to be able to use, for instance, to want you to see how to create stuff like this. So if your story is maybe like about a boy with a very big extended left ear who nobody wanted to associate with, nobody wanted to be friends with, not everybody gossiped about, but he became the savior of their village because from some stroke of luck, he's the only one that could hear the warnings of the gods and save his village in that sense. If you're trying to create a story around that kind of character, your prompt should look something like this. Create an image of a dark-skinned boy, age 13, who has an abnormally big left ear, yet has a cheerful countenance. He has a sharp forehead and dim eyes with a beautiful dentition. He's wearing a yellow t-shirt and holding a hoe in his hand, standing in a typical African farm with mounds of yam stacked up in the background behind him. I'm trying to tell you a little bit of this should be the list of the kind of detailed prompt you should give AI to give you the best results, right? So whether you decide to use Midjourney, Leonardo AI, Copilot, ChatGPT images, or Meta AI, please make sure that you give it exactly what you want. Remember that this prompt I just gave you describes the boy, so that it's easy for you to create it, and you can also continue the prompt in that way so that it keeps recreating close to what that boy looks like. Okay, so go ahead now and keep giving AI the prompts according to the scenes of your story so that it can create it as it goes. Make sure you do it on that one thread. That way it remembers this character and remember the scenes and the people in the story as you go. Now it's time for editing. Take that video recorded audio narration of the story, put it on an editing platform like if you're using a mobile phone, like InShot or CapCut, and then listen to it alone because remember it's a video format and it's going to be black. So just listen to it so that you can cut away anywhere there are errors or technical hitches or anything until it's clean. When it's okay, then increase the volume as well. Remove external sound by using the noise reduction feature When on that audio, you can also add effects, sound effects, you can add voices, you can add music, you can add whatever that makes if the effect of those audio amplified. Add all of them at this time. Then when you're done ready, the audio is okay. It now sounds like a radio drama ready to go. Almost as if it doesn't need any visuals, then you're ready to go. Then you export it. When you export it, you want it to all be in one frame so that your audio is in compact, it's not in pieces of, editing pieces or clips. Then you import it into the software and then begin to place the images on them. With Meta AI, if you generate a particular image, you can also ask it to animate that image. So if you give it a prompt and it creates it and you're okay with it, then your next one should be animated. It will make that same picture move a bit. So you decide whether you want to use both the still picture of that same frame and the animated one, or you want to take only the animations afterwards. You know what I mean? So either one works for you. You will not get this until you're practicing it for real, right? So go ahead and practice it for real. Okay, if you're not using mobile phone, you're using DSLR camera, you can also export your voice and then begin to sync these images you've generated or animated using softwares like DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is also free and it's professional. You can use Filmora. Filmora is very easy to use as well and it's not so expensive. You can use Adobe Premiere Pro, right? And go ahead and put this together. Then begin to put the images you've generated on the part of the audio where they are. For the most part, the audio matches the visuals, and the visuals keep changing as you go, as the story also develops, right? That way is engaging, and you can also use effects to bring in the images in a way that is very, very engaging. If you didn't add sound or music in the audio editing section, this is the time you can also add it. Usually, when you're doing folk tales, African folk tales, you may not really find. You might need to really search. Let me not say you won't find. You might really search for African theme songs on the internet, but to make sure that they're copyright free. But what I do, my production crew, which is my family really, is that we create fresh sound that we use. We use a keyboard to play some sounds and record it and use. That way it's original to you. And I advise you do the same if you can. And you don't have to have like an actual keyboard. You can just download the keyboard online. Download keyboard online. And if you can play it and make some sound, you're going to be able to it's going to give you that effect. Go watch our channel videos and see what we're doing. Most of the videos you're going to see there are done by my 12-year-old, 13-year-old, and 15-year-old children. Yes. So go ahead and check it out. You're going to see what I mean. Of course, all of us are doing it. My husband generates the music most of the time. We also voice sometimes, but we are using them to coach them to master this. So you can see that this is something I'm really invested in and I'm teaching you as well. So when you're done placing all the visuals, whether animated or still, on the narration, make sure you call to action at the end. Tell them to look up another story, subscribe, and all of that. Then you listen to it from beginning to end. Make sure everything is okay. Then it's time to export. Please export also in 1080 or above. Please don't do 720. If you can do in 2K, 4K, is okay, as long as you have space enough to take it, and as long as you have a video compressor to bring it to compress it further into very small file size without reducing the resolution and the effects, like the picture clarity of it. Now, before you upload it on YouTube, go back to the ChatGPT where you develop that full story. Ask ChatGPT to give you the video description of this video, the call to action, the thumbnail copy of this that is appropriate for this video, and also keywords that you can use as tags for this video. Ask it for these 4 things. It's going to give you them at on the same prompt. Okay, so all you have to do is copy the keywords and the tags and go to the tags section of your video. When you now upload the video, you go to the tag section and paste that and make sure that they put all of that in. You have to demarcate them by a comma and make sure that they're properly done. look at the description, add a few things, remove some things from what ChatGPT gave you, make it make sense, then use it for your video description. Video description, title, and your thumbnails are very important. Then the suggestion of your thumbnail, if you love it or you can still amend it, you can use it to go to Canva and design. Take a picture from images you've already had that depicts or makes that can cause somebody to want to click on the video. Take one of those images, go to Canva, design and put a text overlay of what ChatGPT has given you for a thumbnail copy on it. That becomes your thumbnail. Download it and then use as your thumbnail. Put your description, your keyword, your title, and you're ready to go. When you're doing all of this, make sure that you put your video on unlisted until you have put everything in place. Then you can make it public. Or you can schedule it. If you want it to come up like 24 hours later or 6 hours later, you can schedule it and put the timing you want it to come up. And bravo, you have your video right there. Okay, then make sure you go tell your social media neighbors and cousins and friends that you have a video coming up at this time, or you have just uploaded a video. They should go ahead and watch it at so time. That way you're promoting your video as well and everybody knows what you're creating, right? If you have come this far, please like this video if you loved it, and give this video, like this video, and comment. Let me know what you feel about this process. Was this clear enough? Was it direct? Was it step by step? Also subscribe and join the Team Money Gang, and I'll talk to you again in another video. All right, bye.